Guys, Mark Goldberg here from Mark Vlogs Watches with a quick word for your friend and mine, ArchieLuxury, Paul Pluta, AC3, Archibald Chesterfield III. You know, he invented the quick wristwatch check, and the rest of us on YouTube, well, we just stole it. Help keep Archie full-time on YouTube by liking this video, watching this video, tell your fuckhead friends, and make sure to subscribe to his Patreon. And now, ArchieLuxury.
Hi guys, it's your Pontiff, ArchieLuxury, Archibald Chesterfield III, AC3. Today I want to talk about wristwatches as investments, And I've got to tell you, I am heavily invested in the wristwatch business itself there. I got to be completely honest with you. I think wristwatches is the way to go. I really do. I really do think they are a fabulous investment. Let me explain. In this world we live in, it's very, very tough. One of the biggest problems in the Western world is that you can very easily get divorced. All you need to do is get busted, having an affair, or rooting some other woman, and presto, the wife has hit the shits. Oh, wah. It can all turn bad and ugly. Before you know it, she's not going to tolerate that. She's moved out, or she's actually more importantly, she's got an AVO against you and kicked you out, and you're on your own. So I always believe every successful man should have his own stash of cash. Now, how you store that is up to you. The big problem is if you keep that cash in the bank, earning 2%, it's a seizable asset because it could be seized by any number of nasty critters there. She could get a lien on you. She gets a she can get a block, a caveat on property. She can freeze cash. All sorts of nasty shit can happen. You want off ledger assets, off ledger, and that could be it's something. It could be a vintage car, but then a vintage car has a title, and then a title can be seized, and it's tricky, and it's not really transportable. So for myself, what things can a man buy, invest in that retain value? And one of the greatest things is wristwatches. And with that, let's do a wristwatch check. I'm wearing a Patek Philippe 5127G. This is the white gold automatic Calatrava. This is featuring the 315 movement. Absolutely love this Patek Philippe. Now, I gotta tell you, investing in wristwatches, it is a very interesting thing. Even magazines, Spend It magazines in the Financial Times or the Wall Street Journal's luxury section, they're all spruiking. Wristwatches are the next Bitcoin. They're the new store of wealth. Now, I gotta back the truck up a wee bit. Back the truck up. It's a B-double semi-trailer. Okay, now, as we're backing up, let's just realize a few things. It's a bit like with wristwatches are the new Bitcoin. All of a sudden, it's like gamblers. All the winners come out. This is my strategy. One thing you don't hear about when they mention wristwatches as investments is Pam! They don't mention Breitling. They don't seem to mention products like that, brands like that. They don't mention IWC. They don't mention Jaeger LeCoultre. They seem to mention Rolex, especially Steel Sports, and they seem to mention Patek Philippe in the sports watches. Now, the problem is, I'd agree with it. Yes, those certain watches have had phenomenal growth. However, it's very hard to pick these winners. Winner, chicken fucking dinner. Now, if we go back in time, there was a great interview on Watchbox. They had James Dowling there, and I gotta tell you, the funky socks, James. Love the funky socks. I've actually met James in real life, and I found him to be a bit of a fucking prick, to be completely honest there with you. He's an aloof fuck. I got banned on Time Zone just for being an arrogant cunt, and I mentioned his name, and he wouldn't come to the rescue. So, James Dowling, fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Okay. So that shout out sort of gone there. And James Dowling himself there came across as a really nice guy. He's a real cunt in real life. But let's move away from that there. Move away from personal preference. Was he cunt? No, he's aloof. He's an aloof fucker. He's aloof. Anyhow, I digress here. We're talking about, he mentioned a very good point, which I must admit, James Dowling does have some good points there, if you poke the old bastard the right way. And he said that, he remembers going to an auction in the late 90s, early 2000s, and the hot stars were the Rolex Bubbleback and the Rolex Prince. We're not talking Tudor Prince, we're talking the doctor's watch, sort of like a rectangular wristwatch, manual wind with a sub-second. And he mentioned that they were the hot models, and Daytonas were hot. They were never cheap, but they weren't, nobody knew, okay? And this is the big problem. At the time, Bubblebacks and Princes were, that they were very cool in the Rolex collector market. This is kind of before the plastics. They were starting to get hot too. They were hot, but nowhere near as hot as now. I actually sold James Dowling a red 1680, and I remember I sold it to him. He gave me a good price because I went around to a few. I fucking shopped the fucking thing to a few dealers. Then I got a bracelet. I got the guy sold me a bracelet for it. The guy found the bracelet. And then I offered it to James, and he lowballed me. I said, James, man, I'm a professional, man. I'm not here to get fucked over. I'm the fucker. You're the fucky. So anyhow, it's interesting. The whole market changed. I mean, you look at the early noughties, and Panerai was so hot. And I remember distinctly reading on the Rolex forum, somebody had a Sea Dweller, an A serial number Sea Dweller. They were trading that in, adding cash to get a Panerai submersible PAM 24, which I happen to own a PAM 24, and I didn't really like it. I didn't really like it. I didn't like it. No, it had a Valjoux 7750 movement with the chronograph bit removed. Anyhow, why would you fucking use that movement? I don't understand. Anyhow, that digresses a bit, but the investment potential, these winner chicken dinners, they all come out now on the Rolex. They're talking Rolex as investment. Yeah, they're talking, they are talking Patek Sports. They're talking Royal Oaks, but they don't mention the fucking code 1159. They don't mention the Patek dress watch market, which it's not as soft as shit, but it's not a premium that the Nautilus and the Aquanauts are going for. So it is an interesting thing when people talk about this. It's like the gambler. He always remembers his wins. He doesn't remember his losses. He doesn't quite tell you that. He comes off as the big swinging dick. And it's a very interesting thing. So wristwatches as an investment, you look, it's all a bit of a gamble. No one has the crystal ball and says, hey, what would happen? If we go back 20 years ago, we would have said, hey man, the best investment in wristwatches would be Bubblebacks and Princes and plastic roll. Now plastic Rolex has gone up, but Princes and Bubblebacks, bit soft. And with Pateks, if we go back 2000s, well, guess what? The annual calendar, the 5035, the first annual calendar, that was in current production, late 90s. They were going for over retail. That's right. They were hard watch to get. Now it's kind of flattened a bit. It's kind of a bit unloved. They think, oh, wears a bit small, yada, yada, yada. So predicting future, I mean, if you would have bought a 5035, which is quite a legitimate thing to invest in, if you would have paid retail, would you have made money or not? Well, you probably haven't lost money, but if you factor in inflation and other things you could have done with the money, it should be worth a lot more. And that is the point. These are very hard things to pick. And I think, you know, investing in watches, I think it's a very important thing. Every man should do it because they're off ledger. If things hit the shit, the wife tells you to fuck off. You get caught with Wendy at the Christmas party, and then you realize Wendy's actually got 3 kids, and you think, oh, I don't really want to live with Wendy. So you sort of decide to yourself, you think, well, why don't I fuck off to a low-cost Asian nation? Vietnam, Cambodia, upcountry Thailand kind of seems pleasing. So I gotta tell you, in all honesty, you want to have off ledger. Now, I think investing in watches, what's the important thing? Well, you've got a couple of bits of advice I can give you. Nobody really has a crystal ball. And what is popular now, even though it looks like that'll continue to be popular, may change. So I think I look at things a bit differently and say, okay, I think you are going to make money if you continually buy value. What do I mean by buying value? Well, what I mean is you want to buy models that are iconic models to the brand. I think if you buy the iconic version of watches, if Omega is famous for the moon watch, you'll always have a market for that watch. I would generally say the next proviso is stay away from any sort of limited edition. They generally don't do so well. They sell them at full retail, so you get limited discount when you buy. And then they don't seem to do magic things. A lot of Omega limited editions, it's actually the non-limited edition that seems to be more valuable in many cases. I would say my advice is buy iconic models to the brand, non-limited editions, so you're not paying crazy premiums. And I would say try and get as good a nicer condition piece as you can. I would also highly suggest you look for value in the sense that things change, they come in and out. For example, say a Patek 5127. Now, these are never that cheap. They were never that cheap. 5127. They're never that cheap. They're a little bit soft now. They were the same price. They were possibly more expensive than an Aquanaut or a Nautilus in the day. Now they basically got the same movement. The 315/324 movement, which is what the Aquanaut Nautilus uses. They're a precious metal piece, traditional, classic iconic model for Patek, classic iconic model for dress watches, bought on the pre-owned market for less than half of retail. You probably can't do too badly. Because at the end of the day, yes, the dress watch market may be shrinking, but everybody wants a Patek. It's like a Mercedes-Benz. They all want a Benz. They want the star in the driveway. And I've got to tell you, with Patek itself there, it's a brand that's in smaller numbers, and it's something that has great scope, especially when you consider the fact that Patek itself there Well, the big driver is the Chinese market. They're buying Rolex Steel Sports like a lot of newbies do. Then eventually they say, well, I want to be better than that. What's better than Rolex Steel Sports? And what's really good undervalue? Patek Philippe. So I dare say something like Patek could go really well. Now the interesting thing is something like Vacheron could equally go as well, if not better. But I'd hedge my bets in the Anglo-Saxon market and the Chinese market by saying Patek is probably a better investment than a VC, a Vacheron Constantin. That's what I would be doing. I'd be buying nice examples, box papers, nice condition. The other thing is investing in wristwatches is very much that the dividend stream is not so much the yearly appreciation. The dividend stream is the fucking enjoyment you get from wearing the fucking thing. And the enjoyment you get of wearing it and meeting people you fucking dislike and them knowing you've got a legendary wristwatch. And that's one of the great joys. The dividends in life is not always money returned for you. This is a tax-free dividend. It's the enjoyment of it. It's like owning a Maserati or a Porsche 911. Gives you a sense of enjoyment and fulfillment between the high service costs, of course. I mean, let's face it, they're not fucking free. So I think investing in watches, just realize there's no 100% answer, what should you buy? I mean, I think instead of saying what should you buy, what shouldn't you buy is a better way. So I would say softer brands, dog shit brands, stay the fuck away from. Things like Bell & Ross, things that Rodent 2 promotes. I'd stay away from that garbage because he's just getting kickbacks. I would also say, you know, anything that's semi-luxury, bullshit luxury, like Brumont. I mean, who the fuck? They're just a bunch of rich fucking cunts who got daddy's money and they wanted to invest in a wristwatch business. Wah, 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 poobah, fuckers. So I wouldn't be investing in shit like that. I'd look at long established Patek Philippe. I think that'd be good. I think some of the iconic models, you go Omega Speedmaster, not a terrible buy. Rolex Daytona, Rolex Submariner, Rolex GMT, any of the Rolex Steel Sports would be good. I'd also say you could look at just the iconic, beautiful watches. Beautiful, lovely, iconic watches. I would say myself, I'd be drawn to Patek complications. I think, look at some of the dogs in the market. Say something is soft at the moment, say annual calendar, the first series, and say, okay, what's the driver? The chows, the Chinese, they will click in, and it's perfect for a smaller Chinese wrist. Perfect. That's got potential to take really off. I also would say it's a bit like something like the World Time, the first generation World Time, the reissue. What is the previous model? Oh, that's going for $1 million plus US. So the model after that, even though the model after that, of course, was highly mass produced compared to minimal numbers, it still should have some flow on. So that's not a terrible piece to invest in either. So I would say investing in watches, every man should have his own stash. I mean, what happens if you're caught with your dick in Wendy's pie? I mean, some women tolerate these things. They're happy for you to have a little bit of outsourcing of services. But other bitches get upset with Wendy at the office. So I've got to be completely honest with you. Every man should have a little bit of a reserve he could put into a briefcase, jump into, get a flight, an economy ticket to Hong Kong. Why Hong Kong? Well, it's a tax-free country. You could land there with the watches and you don't have to pay any tax on arrival. Unlike other countries, even Singapore, you got to declare and pay. Thailand is scanning all your luggage in 2020. Thank you, fuckers. That's exactly where I'd be going. I would be going that route, just very carefully done, very conservatively. And I don't think you could go too wrong. I honestly don't see it going terribly bad at all. I think you could quite honestly go through there quite nicely. I've got to be honest with you there. Get the iconic models, get the brand, the model that brand's famous for, and stay away from fucking dog shit brands. I mean, that's investing in watches. And at the end of the day, if the choices you've taken don't have the huge growth, and that's it's hard to pick, you've still got the dividend of enjoying these watches yourself, and that's worth something indeed there. I would say now, if I was investing in watches and I had say $20,000, 20,000, I mean, I would probably buy some softer brands. Yes, I would. If I was building a $20,000 portfolio, what would I buy? Well, I would buy. You'd have to get some sort of Rolex Steel Sports. I'd probably say the three-hander with non-ceramic bezel, Explorer 1, Air King, or the Milgauss. That's three really cool pieces. I'd add a Breitling Super Ocean Heritage. Version 1 or 2 would be fine. I would say something beautiful like a Breguet Type 20. That's kind of a brand that is soft but luxurious to the T. I reckon the Type 20 is, as long as it's in nice condition, that's a really good watch to say. It can't get any lower than that, and it's enjoyable. It's a Breguet. I'd say some IWC, particularly IWC with the in-house movements. Try and stay away from that fucking Solita shit. I would say Tudors, as long as they're cool Tudors, not fucking ugly Monarch or shit like that. The Black Bay series is pretty good, and the Monte Carlo, the sporting Tudors. I would say Omega Speedmaster Man on the Moon. I would even say the Speedmaster Mark II. I actually like the reissue with the column wheel coaxial movement. Great watch. I would say Zenith, yes. Don't get too funky with the Zenith. Stick to the traditional, the reissue of the 1969, either the Open Heart 42mm or the 38mm true to form original. I reckon buy that second hand. Don't ever buy fucking Zenith fucking new. Fuck me dead. Don't be that stupid. Buy that second hand. You really can't go too wrong. Column wheel, fucking beautiful movement in that piece there. What else would I recommend there? I think if you buy well, your money would be safe there. If I was building a $20,000 collection, I'd have one Rolex. I would add if I was building a $20,000 collection, $20,000, add a Rolex, three-hand sports, steel. I'd add an Omega Speedmaster Man on the fucking Moon. I'd add a Tudor Black Bay. I would add I reckon that'd give us three good pieces. What's a fourth piece? So we go Rolex, please. Rolex would take a lot of money there. That'd take about 40% of our 20,000. So at the Rolex, our Rolex. Okay, let me do this in my head. We'd add a Speedy, and then we'd add a Breguet. Then we'd add a Zenith. a Zenith. I'd add a Zenith there, and I'd possibly add even a Reverso, a Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso. Don't pay premiums for the Reverso. Jaeger-LeCoultre. I often buy what's out of fashion. At the moment, the ultra thins are in. I'd go for the fat, the big chunky fat ones. I reckon that fatness is always going to be in. Fatness is always going to be in. So that's what I do. Investing in watches. Get nice examples. Box. Look, papers. Is papers crucial? No, it's always the deal. But if possible, get the box and papers, of course. It doesn't mean it's crucial, but if possible, proceed. You want to present it well. You get top whack if you present it well. I would seriously, that's what I would buy. And for an average man, $20,000, you can jump on a jet, get the fuck out. You can live in Cambodia or Vietnam for $20,000. It gives you 6 months thinking time to work out and get Asian fever and just move, make your maid, your masseuse and entertainer by night. That's what I would do, man. That's what I'd do. You want to be able to have an escape plan. And be honest with you, this world we live in, it's fucked. It's fucked. If you're a male, the world is out to fuck you over. You got to fight back. Fight back. So that's exactly what I would be doing. So yeah, that's the way I look at it. Tell me what you think, guys. Like, subscribe. Tell your fuckhead friends investing in watches. What do you think? And until next time, see you later, fuckaroonies! Like, subscribe, and tell your fuckhead friends.
You see those big yellow plants, but in there's all these azaleas. Yeah. Those yellow ones have grown up, but they'll die later, and then it's protecting the azaleas.
Merry Christmas! Happy New Year!
No,
Oh, that corner.
yeah, no, the whole side, there's about 20 azaleas there.
Oh, okay.
But you can't see them because those plants have taken over.
Yeah.
You know? And that's all right, because those plants will die, and the azalea, but it's protecting them from the sun. Yeah. That was Galea. She made a book.
David SW. David SW. David SW. Who does ArchieLuxury recommend is the greatest grey market dealer in America? There's only one choice. David SW. That's right, guys. I've got to tell you the honest truth. I have for a long time been looking for the perfect answer. Who do I recommend people go to see? Who do I recommend that people can go and buy watches? And I've got to be honest with you. The greatest pre-owned dealer for Rolex, Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet is David SW. David SW. David SW. DavidSW.com. That's right, guys. I have been looking for a contact who I can very nicely refer people to. I am not in the selling business. Customer service, I'm too old to sell watches. I'm too old. I like to recommend my viewers to a reliable source. In Australia, I've got some great sources. There's Sydney Watch Exchange with Cove, Ronnie at Vintage Watch Co, Shani at European Watch Gallery. And in America, who is the best source for pre-owned Rolex? For all the hot models? There's only one person I would recommend, David SW. David SW, David SW. That is the premier source for pre-owned Rolex. I gotta be completely frank and honest with you. Guys, if you are looking for a hot Rolex model, there is only one place you can go to. David SW. David SW. David SW. Let's be honest, guys. There's no point schmoozing the dealers, the ADs. They're just a waste of time. Unless you're going to buy 20 pieces, you are wasting your time. What you're better off to do is pay the market premium and go to a good pre-owned dealer. Who do I recommend? David S.W. David S.W. David S.W. That's correct, guys. I want to tell you this now. I 100% stand behind David S.W. David S.W., the greatest pre-owned dealer in the entire United States of America. That's right, the greatest pre-owned dealer for Rolex, for Patek Philippe, for Audemars Piguet, David S.W. He even does things like FP Journe. David S.W. David S.W. David S.W. That's right. If you want to buy a pre-owned Rolex, a Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, there's only one good source I would recommend. David S.W. David S.W. David S.W. I'm Paul Pluta, the method actor who plays Archibald Chesterfield III, and I'm proud to recommend David S.W. See you later. Thank you for watching this channel.
Oh honey, though our friendship ceases